episode 2 is when they start judging us. They choose a favorite. So keep that in mind. Keep that energy up. Hello, world, and welcome to Development Heaven. I am your host, Vincent Marinelli, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Glenn Cagle.
Hey, guys. I'm here.
That's it, huh? That's what you're going to give me? That's what you're bringing?
You put me on the spot, man.
No, you're fine. It's all right. We're professionals. We'll move through it. All right, so this is, of course, a sequel to the first episode, and like all sequels, we will, build upon the ideas, the themes that we introduced in the first one. We'll develop our characters a little bit, and maybe even introduce a new character or two. What do you think? Introduce a new character?
I don't know, man. Not all sequels introduce a new character, but we definitely should. Not all sequels expand on other characters either. I'm looking at you, Vincent. What's a bad sequel?
Kill him. No. What's a bad sequel? You tell me. Kill him right now. You have the opportunity.
Ooh, okay. The gun is loaded, and I'm cocking it. All right, here we go. J.J. Abrams. Blam.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn,
yeah, that's
Glenn.
right. That's right. Star Wars Episode 9, baby.
Oh, wow. Glenn.
Sorry, bud.
Killing him. We're still talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And especially for you guys listening.
So anyway, we have Daisy Ridley here in the studio.
Here she is. Why'd you choose Daisy Ridley? I can do a much better Adam Driver voice than Daisy Ridley.
All right, so join your hands together. Welcome Adam Driver to the studio. Daisy Ridley's gone because she quit acting. Adam Driver, welcome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Hey, Adam, friend. So, listen, man, tell us about your up and coming projects. What do you have going on, my man?
We're doing Star Wars Episode 10. Peter Jackson is directing this one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's got a good track record. All right, I think that's all he had to say, so thank you.
Yeah, he hung up.
Adam Driver, for joining us. We will not be developing your character at all in the sequel.
Thank goodness.
Thank God, right? You know what? It's about time, too. Somebody finally said it. Adam Driver's been getting too much character development recently. That guy's cool, man. I like him. He was like a Marine or something.
He was a Marine, yeah. But he like hurt himself in a climbing accident right before he was supposed to go on duty.
Huh.
He did a TED Talk. That's all how I know that. So you can check that out if you're interested in our man Kylo.
Our boy Kylo Ren. Yeah, listen.
And also the guy from Marriage Story and the guy from Girls.
He was really good at Marriage Story. I was just watching Ice Age 3 last night. Long story, where my family's binging Ice Age movies. And Ice Age 3 has like a weird divorce subplot with Sid the Sloth and his T-Rex wife. And it had really, really strong Marriage Story vibes. And it made me want to watch the movie again. Yeah, I've been thinking about that all day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough.
So anyway, so I'm also recommending Ice Age 3. So check out Adam Driver's TED Talk and Ice Age 3. And for the time being,
we've been doing the Marvel movies, the whole anthology.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are on Iron Man 2.
Oh no, that's a good marathon you got going on. You guys are really committed to it.
Yeah. Speaking of sequels.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
So what are we talking about today, Vincent?
Well, like I said, it's a sequel, right? We're developing themes and the other dumb things I said. So for the time being, I thought we go ahead and get all of our character development done now. I figured we would do a little bit of a breaking the ice more so than we just did, personal questions, right? Just a real quick,
an AMA?
Break the ice, let the audience get to know us a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like an AMA, but only you get to ask me questions.
Yeah, so I'm yeah, so ask you anything. No. What I'm going to be doing is, I'm going to bring that camp counselor vibe in here. Let me set the scene. We're on a beach, right, and we're doing our summer camp activities, and your camp counselor just brought out a beach ball, and it's got like questions written on it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And they're like
yeah,
tossing
totally,
to each other, and
totally.
you catch it. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and just toss this. I'll softball this beach ball to you. There you go. Boop. And
Okay, okay.
all right, your right thumb seems to have landed on the question. What did you do? What the fuck did you do, Glenn? I know what you fucking did.
I don't know.
All right, and if we go ahead and keep it moving, toss it back.
All right,
And
Vincent,
it looks
here you
like
go.
my thumb landed on. Looks like my thumb landed on. What's my favorite color? It's green. Favorite color is green. You think that works? You think that works for character development? That's all we need for now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
it's more than Finn got.
We're still talking about Star Wars. Get used to it.
Hot on cold, baby. Hot takes on cold topics.
Yeah, poor guy. Next week, John Boyega. So, I figure we go ahead and get started. Our topic this week was sequels, the theme that we'll be building off of. Glenn,
Mm-hmm.
like always, you have devised a way to determine which one of us will be going first. So, hit me with it.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a card game going on today.
Mhm.
So I've got a deck of cards right here. First of all, tell me, Vincent.
Yeah.
How sonically interesting is the sound of cards? I mean, honestly, I just really love it. Like,
Over
you got that? You got
in
that?
MP3 form, it sounds like a fart. You know this.
Listen, bud. The sound of cards hitting the table,
Mm-hmm.
pristine. Okay, so we're gonna take turns drawing cards and just
Mhm.
face up, and
Mhm.
whoever gets a sequence first, so like 4-5 or
Right.
8-9 first wins. As always, it goes after the 10. It goes Jack, Queen, King, and then Ace. You don't. I guess. Let's. You don't have to get them in order. We don't want to be on this forever. As soon as you have two adjacent cards, you're up. Okay.
All right. Let's jam through it.
All right. I got a King of Spades.
Okay. All right. Looks like I have the two of clubs.
All right. Two of Spades. I really thought it would like show us. Okay, you just got an ace, so you're up. Looks like you're going first. You have an ace and a two. Oh wait, did we say ace high? Who cares? You're up.
All right, I'm up. Let's do it. So last week, I of course talked about the first ever video game, Super Mario Brothers.
Of course.
Naturally. And for this one, the number one sequel in the world, best sequel ever made, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Super Mario Brothers 2. Hey, so I want to tell you about the story of Super Mario Brothers 2, also known as Doki Doki Panic. I'll get to why that's a thing. So first off, have you? Yeah, no, I'm telling you the truth, man. First off, have you ever played Super Mario Bros. 2?
I don't think so. I think the only one that I've played was Super Mario Bros. World on the Wii, and it was just awful. It was on the Wii. No, it was bad. No, it was new. Sorry, new Super Mario Bros. New Super Mario Bros. The control scheme is just, or I don't know what it is, but it doesn't. It felt so bad to play.
Yeah, I might get into the new Super Mario Bros. Games at some point, but they're kind of lazy. Is the problem with them? Because they
The first
made
level's
these
always
sprites.
the same.
Yeah, I mean they made these sprites like 10, 12 years ago or whatever, and then they've just kept using them for the same games just over and over again. Anyway, we're not talking about new Super Mario's. We're talking about Super Mario Brothers 2. So,
Old one.
just gameplay wise, it's completely different than the first one. It's a mixture of this side scrolling where you get to the edge of the screen and it kind of like shifts over. You know what I mean? And it also does the same where you climb, and as you get to the top of the screen, it shifts upwards. It's and the reason for that is because it wasn't originally supposed to be a Mario game. It was originally a prototype that was created and directed by a man named Kensuke Tanabe, and it was programmed by SRD. SRD worked with old school Nintendo. They made all the like the Zelda, Donkey Kong, all that stuff. But originally, it was just a tech demo that came out that was released sometime after the original Super Mario Bros., where the original design of this tech demo was vertical platforming instead of horizontal. So it was you're picking up blocks, you're throwing them around, you're stacking them, you're jumping on top of them, get to the top of the screen, shifts upwards.
There's a similar game to that called Lazarus. It was in the Game Maker's Apprentice, the first one, which is like
Right.
a book on how to make games. And one of the games they had you make was called Lazarus, and basically the whole time boxes were just dropping on you, and you had to like build up a staircase to get out of the pit that you're in. But they would,
Right.
but heavier boxes would crush lighter boxes. I wonder if it was inspired by that,
It could have
the
been.
Super Mario's 2.
There aren't boxes falling apparently in this tech demo. I mean, this is reportedly right, but it was like in the final version of Super Mario Bros. 2. There's like little plants in the ground that you like pick up. There's like turnips and stuff, and you pull them out of the ground. And then in
Cool.
this tech demo, it was blocks, and you would stack them and you jump around. I think it was originally supposed to be a multiplayer thing, so there was like a second player, and you guys are like throwing each other and jumping around. It seems like a good idea, but apparently it was kind of difficult for the NES hardware. And also, old mate Shigeru Miyamoto wasn't super into it. This is the thing. This is the thing I like about most stories about Shigeru Miyamoto. After Mario, he became like very high up in Nintendo, and I feel like obviously that's to be expected. But he just kind of gets his hands in everybody's pie a little bit. Everybody's just like asking him because he's like there aren't that many video game designers. There's like Shigeru, Shiggy, what do we do? And he's like, I don't know, make it like Mario. And so that was his quote for this tech demo when Tanabe brought him this idea of this vertical platforming. He was like, yeah, it's fine, but it'd be better if there was more traditional side scrolling. To quote him, like Mario. And so
What a guy.
they took this. I know they took this tech demo and they developed it with both the verticality and the horizontal side scrolling. Shigeru specifically said like make whatever, because as long as it's fun, anything goes, which is I feel like it's a good
That's
way
true.
to approach video games, right?
Totally, yeah.
So they finished this tech demo, and then around the same time there was I couldn't tell exactly what it was. It was some sort of festival in Japan called the Yume Kojo Festival, which was hosted by Fuji Television. None of this is super important, but Fuji Television wanted a video game with the characters from this festival, like they have on all the advertising. And so they took this tech demo, added these characters, and called it Doki Doki Panic, which was this side-scrolling and also vertical climbing thing where you're playing as the characters from the Yume Kojo Festival, and that's about it. The game was developed by the same team as Mario, so it has a similar feel, and this was released in Japan to promote the Yume Kojo Festival. At about the same time, Super Mario Bros. 2 comes out. And like I said, Shiggy said, as long as it's fun, anything goes. Well, arguably, Super Mario Bros. 2 is not fun because it's like really, really hard. So
Really?
you know what Mario looks like. The original game, you know what it looks like. And the sequel, Super Mario Bros. 2, which was literally in America known as the Lost Levels. So that's what I'm going to call it from now on to avoid confusion. So the Lost Levels was released in Japan. And it was like really difficult. It looked identical to the first Mario, so it's like using the same engines and all that. But all of the levels are like these like pixel. You have to do like these pixel perfect jumps and like frame perfect whatever, and it's really challenging. And considering that Mario was like the flagship franchise for Nintendo, Nintendo of America decided that they didn't really want their the brand of Mario to be associated with this like constant frustration of everybody dying in
They
the
didn't want
Lost
Mario
Levels.
to be the Dark Souls of video games.
Exactly. That would be later. And I think it's smart, quite frankly.
Yeah, it was definitely the best move.
So they kind of scrambled. They were like, well, how do we make, we have to release a Mario 2. We're practically printing money. So what do we do? How do we get Mario to North America? And so they took this slap together game, Doki Doki Panic, which had these 4 main characters. So you got Imogen, who's like this balanced main protagonist character who runs and jumps the perfect amount, right? Perfect distance. You got Mama, who her ability is to jump higher and slightly hover in the air. You have Lena, who can briefly hover, but she's slightly slower. And you have Papa, who's shorter and faster. All of these characters, they took these and they replaced it with the primary characters in the Mario franchise. So Imogen, the main one, Balance becomes Mario. Mama becomes Luigi, which very fitting considering Luigi's general nature.
He's definitely a mom archetype.
Yeah, maternal figure in the Mario Bros. Universe. Right. What else was it? Lena, she becomes Princess Toadstool. And Papa, the little short guy, becomes Toad.
This is before we see like Waluigi and Wario or any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when I think of the 4 core characters of Mario, I think of the 2 brothers and their enemies, but that was not the case.
As in the mainline kind of tradition of the Mario Brothers, it's frequently Mario, Luigi, Princess, and Toad, and that was that started in this really quick decision to reskin these textures in Super Mario Bros. 2 or Doki Doki Panic. And all of these abilities that the Doki Doki Panic characters had, right, where Mama can jump higher and Lena can hover, are now, the primary characteristics of the Mario characters, where Luigi is like
really
fat high jumper. Yeah, he does his little floaty jump, even though he's not quite as fast, and he's like just
I
like
didn't
a
know that at all.
Character, less friction. Yeah, so
is that true in the new Super Mario Bros. Games? Do you know?
I think the newer ones have more balance, like the ones called new, but in like 3D World, 3D Land, those ones where you play as Peach and Toad as well, then those characteristics carry over.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can see those as well in like their Smash Bros. Iterations, right? Where they take these ideas that were just kind of thrown at them unintentionally, and now they're the legacy of these characters, which I think is pretty cool. This was the first time you could play as Toad or Princess Peach, or she was Toadstool at the time.
And wait, so you could play as Luigi in the first one? I thought it was just single player.
It was a 2-player game. I'm not entirely sure. I think the 2-player was when player 1 dies, you hand the controller over to player 2, right? And then it's Luigi. But yeah, that's how they used to do. That's how they used to
little
do
brother mechanics.
Yeah, it's like the Tails and Sonic.
Yeah. I'm seeing. I'm looking at some of the comparisons, like where they. It looks like they had like a almost like that quirky like Arabian like Aladdin vibe.
Yes,
Before they switched it, he's got like a turban on.
So when they ported it over to America, made it Mario, they had to change a lot of that stuff. So like there's lamps, like magical lamps that let you go places, and those become just potions.
Potions, it looks like. Yeah.
There's like masks or something, and those become the shells.
I see Mario that. Shells. Yeah, and I can definitely see why they changed that. Have you seen what the masks looked like?
Oh, it's blackface, right?
It's like, well, I'm not intentionally, I'm sure, but it was like it's a black circle with red lips and white eyes.
I've heard about this. Yeah, it was. That's probably part of why they had to change it. Anyway, so all that stuff was changed. They added mushrooms and all that. The story was completely stripped away.
Really?
Because the story was about. The story was originally about the characters for the whatever festival was, and so instead it's just Mario's having a dream. He's just having a dream, and this is what happens in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The laziest possible.
He's just sleeping,
Okay.
and this is what he's thinking about, which is interesting. I hadn't really thought about this because there's a lot of there's a surprising amount of things that, like I said, have become part of the legacy of the Mario franchise that originated in this game that a lot of people don't realize, like bombs and what else is
Really?
it? Shy Guys. Yeah, Shy Guys are from this game.
So Mario
Uh,
dreamt them into reality.
that's what I'm saying. I think he dreamt them into existence.
Mario is the god of the Mario Bros. Universe.
Mm. I see no reason why that wouldn't be true. What does that make Luigi then?
God's brother.
Of course.
So wait, does that mean that Mario, like being the god of this universe, chooses to kill all the Goombas? I mean, he could easily just go around, you know? You've seen that?
What, like a pacifist run?
No. There's like a picture of what it looks like from Mario's perspective, and everything's just lined up in a straight line, so he could just
right,
like
so
go
you just
left or
kill
right.
them.
Yeah, but instead he hops on the blocks and jumps on their heads to
Right.
kill them.
Yeah.
He relishes it.
He's like an Old Testament god.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so let me see. That's pretty much what I had.
I do like the masks though. I mean, there was like, other than the blackface looking one, there's some other ones that like just look like cool war paint, and I'm actually kind of into it. But it looks like they changed those anyway to like it's like an eagle, or a bird of some sort instead of a mask.
Right. Yeah. So there are like mask enemies, and then as you get to the end of levels, you have to fight a boss. So to fight the boss, you pick up turnips and junk, and you throw them at him. And then there's just an eagle head behind them, or a hawk head, and it opens its mouth, and you climb inside, and that's how you end the levels. It's a very strange game.
I'm into it.
There's this one
I mean,
thing. I played the game as a little kid. It was one of the first games I had. And there's like one time where you get to the end and there's like no boss, I think. And then you climb inside the mouth and then it bites you and it's alive and it attacks you. And I never
And it's
trusted
the
them
boss?
ever after that. Yeah, and it's the boss.
That's pretty
And
cool.
I never, as a little kid, never felt comfortable to just climb back inside of there.
Is that just damage that you have to take?
I don't remember. Maybe
Like-
it doesn't. Maybe it like doesn't let you in and then it attacks you. I don't remember, but it's
Okay.
definitely scary. And I don't think this game is
scarring.
supposed to be
I mean,
scary.
Shiggy did it to you, man.
No, I
He
guess
really
it
did you
to
like
me.
it. Yeah. That's rough.
The boss is this big toad guy who's like important to the Yume Kojo festival, I think. And they didn't change his design at all for the American release. They just call him Wart. He's
He
just
looks
a big
like
toad
an
man.
alternate universe Bowser. Like if they had made Bowser a frog instead of a toad, or
Yeah.
a toad instead of a turtle.
I
You know what
suppose so.
I
I mean, he serves the same function of just being the final bad guy.
Yeah, but he's like big and he's like a king and he wears a cape.
Mm-hmm.
He hits all the classic elements. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Of evil man.
Yeah.
Evil frog monster, I guess.
Down with monarchy. Is that what they're trying to say here?
Yeah, that's
what
probably
they're trying
it.
to say. That's it. Yeah.
All right, so just a couple quick little fun facts I thought were all right. The primary gimmick of the first Mario Brothers is he takes damage and gets short, right? And so they felt like it would be important to have that still in this game, despite that not being in the original tech demo Doki Doki Panic game. They just have a heart. They have like relative hearts, and then if you lose them all, you die. But when they ported it over, they made it so that when you get down to your last heart, you become short. But that like really messed with the balance of the game because it just let you duck under everything. So what they did to adjust that is just made their short head sprites really, really large. So they just have abnormally large heads that will still get hit.
So it's you didn't actually shrink, your sprite just changed.
Yeah, pretty much. That seems to be the case.
Funny.
No, it's good. It's really good.
That's game design, guys.
Mhm. The other thing that it's a feature now. The other thing that the big thing that was introduced in this was the different bosses. Like I said, there
Mm-hmm.
were some returning faces. There's like the those cactus guys is in this game. The little cactus. I
Mm.
think they're called
Yeah, yeah.
Spikies, something like that. And then also Birdo. You know about Birdo?
No, I don't know about Birdo.
Birdo is. Y'all don't know about Birdo? Now, Birdo is one of the bosses. She later shows up in a lot of like of the Mario racing, Mario tennis games. She like looks like a Yoshi type design, but she has
Is she a
like a
dinosaur?
tube. She's like a dinosaur looking thing, but she has like this tube where her nose is that she shoots eggs out of.
Oh,
Um,
that's what that is. Okay.
yeah, yeah. She
Um,
shoots eggs, and then you're supposed to catch them and throw them back at her. She has a bow on her head, and she's pink, and that's the main thing about her.
that I mean, this is a video game, so that's how else would we know that she's a female? And what more do we need to know about her than that she is a female?
Well, what's funny is if you read the player's handbook or player's guide, you know they all the old games used to have that. Uh, she in the original Super Mario Bros. 2, she's referred to as a he, and then he just likes cross
What?
dressing. And then
Really?
for the rest of the Mario series, he's referred to as a she, which means that she's Mario's first trans character. So probably
Wow.
unintentionally, Mario said trans rights, and I'm okay with that.
Thank you, Mario.
Thank you,
Thank
Mario.
you,
Yeah,
Shiggy.
Mama Shiggy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just a couple more fun facts. Those lost levels, I'll go back to them real briefly. Because of how difficult it is, it's often seen as like a predecessor to the modern speedrunning subculture that you get in video games, where it's like you have to play it in this very specific way to do everything like
Mm.
frame perfect to actually get it to actually even play the game properly.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think is fun. A
That's.
lot of people consider this like a good game after the fact. It
I
didn't.
mean, if you're into
That's
speedrunning,
yeah. I guess so. That's the only thing that people like I said, Super Mario Bros. 2 actually had a lot to do with the legacy of Super Mario Bros. Whereas the Lost Levels pretty much only included like the poison mushroom, which that's shows up sometimes, but
yeah.
rarely. So Lost Levels were eventually ported to America in these. They were called like All Star Super Mario All Star packs, I guess. I don't know.
Hmm.
But they were games for the. I think they were for the SNES and also for Game Boy, where it was just a couple of Mario games, and they were touched up a little bit, like slightly changed the sprites to look a little bit better for the newer
Okay.
consoles. So yeah, that is when they were. That was the first time they were available to be played outside of Japan. Was when they did these All
I
Star
see.
ports. The way that I played Super Mario Bros. 2 as a kid was from one of these All Star ports. So here's some more of this choice character development. The first console I had was a Game Boy Advanced, and I had their Mario All Star Advanced port, which had the first Mario, Mario Bros. 2, and like the arcade game. And so I played a
Hmm.
lot of those as a little kid. It's funny. I was going back through and looking at some of the changes that these ports made, and it was minor things like just slightly updating the sprites. Like I think in the original one, Mario didn't have like whites in his eyes; they made him have. It's like minor things, updating the
Yeah. Well, when
aesthetic,
you go to
just like
higher res, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
one big thing they did was they included voice acting,
Really?
like
That's pretty
full
cool.
ass voice acting in my Mario game on the handheld.
What's ass voice acting?
Yeah, well, it wasn't asked because it was good. They got Charles Martinet, and everyone is here, everyone's back. But
My main man.
yeah, you select the character, and he's like, "Ah, it's me." It was bad, but yeah, and also all the bosses for no reason. You go up to them, and then at like in the middle of them attacking, everything will just freeze, and then your little Game
Mm-hmm.
Boy Advance will just spit out a little bit of like you walk up to Birdo, and then the game freezes. It's like,
This is as far as you go.
and it sounds
What?
really good. It was a really good idea. Yeah, so she just
I'm
talks
so
all into
confused. It just says that to you when you're like just at random
just says it.
intervals.
At the beginning, not
Why?
at the end. Because
That's
it's
weird.
voice acting. It's a real video game now.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. No, when you put it that way.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a
I like this
fantastic game.
three-headed snake. I've
Yeah,
seen a
he's
lot of this
like,
three-headed snake, and he's like my favorite character now.
yeah, he says something like, "Oh, I'll spit fire on you, Mario."
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Right. So I don't have any way to transition into yours. So that's the end of my segment. Go ahead and tell me what's up, Glenn.
What's up? I'll tell you what's up. Hapu Games, they're up. They're up, baby. Risk of Rain 2 is probably one of the few times, definitely one of the few times I have enjoyed the sequel more than the original. You know me.
Ah,
You know
yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah.
Vincent.
Uh-huh.
You know me, Vincent.
I
I
do.
I like my originals. I like my originals. I don't like
Hmm.
a lot of sequels. I think, which I just left better unwatched, unplayed. But
Yeah, you're a
Risk
purist
of
in that way.
I am a purist in that way. But Risk of Rain 2 takes the cake. And the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, over 650,000 players bought this during week 1. And this is an indie development made by 2 college students at the University of Washington.
Really?
So, yeah, pretty insane,
Huh.
right?
So Risk of Rain 2 goes 3D, doesn't it?
Risk
That's
of
what's
Rain 2
special
goes
about it?
3D. That's what's
All right.
special about it. How did you know that? Have you played Risk of Rain?
You showed me. It's just like
Okay.
The Godfather Part 2. It's always
Just
all
like
these
the
classic.
Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the
going,
Godfather
3D,
2.
you know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you a secret. It's not 3D.
Wait, really?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Just like
I made
James
that up.
Cameron's Avatar.
Probably. It's been delayed indefinitely again.
All right. Yeah. 650,000 players in week 1. Over 1 million players after 1 month. So kind of nuts. I don't have any numbers on the first one, but I can tell you they didn't look like that.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Well, what's this game look like, Glenn? Tell me about the gameplay.
Well, you already said it. It's 3D. The first game was like a 2D platformer, kind of in a Metroidvania style. But it was interesting in that your character is like really tiny, so like the world seemed really big. If that makes
that's
sense.
a cool way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess your character on screen was just tiny, is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
You could see a lot of the map around you.
Yeah, it's like a
and
scope thing.
yeah. And these games are kind of like sort of roguelike. They have roguelike elements where when you die, you're done, you're out. But you go from basically you start on a planet, and or I think they all take place on the same planet, but you start in this one biome, and you're looking for a teleporter, and you have to fight your way through hordes of enemies to get to it. And the teleporter's in a random location every time you play, so it keeps the game
So it's
fresh.
like procedurally generated?
No, the worlds are the same, but the items, all of the chests and items and power ups and things, and the teleporter itself are randomized. Once you find the teleporter, you hit it, and then there's a boss fight. And then once you kill the boss, you have to sit on the teleporter for a certain amount of time until it charges. And once it's charged, you can keep playing that level if you want to. But if there's items you think you need to get that you haven't, but in all honesty, that is probably a bad idea because you want to. There's a timer. That's sort of this game's gimmick, is that there's a timer in the upper right hand corner, and it just goes up steadily. It goes up. I'm telling you. And when it and the game's difficulty scales with the timer. So, staying on one world.
Oh,
Yeah. Staying in one level for 5 minutes is generally a bad idea. You're just going to start to see ridiculous enemies. Maybe not on that level, but down the road, it's going to snowball and you're going to get wrecked. So the idea is to find the teleporter, proc it, fight the boss, charge the teleporter, and get out as fast as you can.
Yeah,
sort of like. Yeah. It's a lot of fun, especially because you can play with friends. It's up to 4 players. It's available on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, all for around $15 to $20, which is pretty cool for how much content you're getting. It's in early access, so they're constantly adding more. Today is actually the 1-year anniversary of the game's early access release. Today, as of recording, that is. 27th of March, 2019 was when it was released. And so happy birthday to them, I guess. But yeah, so the early access release goals were to like have the game fully released in a year. So it looks like they failed on that one. Their goals were to have 10 playable characters, 10 stages, 12 bosses, and 100 collectible items. And let me tell you, they missed it. They have currently 9 playable characters. They have way more than 10 stages. They have 9 bosses and 99 collectible items.
All right.
Yeah. They've also they've got they've got one more update scheduled, and I'm sure it's release after that. So pretty cool stuff. They're making strides. Let's talk about Hapu. Let's talk about the men behind this.
Let's talk about them.
Hapu Games is made up of young men Duncan Drummond and Paul Morse. Their website for Risk of Rain 1 says that they're students at University of Washington, but I don't know if that's still the case. So I don't really know. Paul was studying finance and entrepreneurship. He's he's the design and PR guy, and Duncan is studying mechanical engineering, or was or is, I don't know. He's the programmer and the artist. So we have that little duality.
Yeah, it's good to have a PR guy on a team like that, because if you
right,
you don't do a No Man's Sky thing.
What do you mean by that?
I'll do an episode about it. Basically,
I know.
They didn't have a PR guy, so just like the guy, the main guy who's a programmer is like, oh yeah, we want to do this and this, and everybody got excited for those things, and then they couldn't do it, and then everybody got real pissed off.
So he was just giving like the
like
what
a
they
programmer,
wanted to do.
He's just saying what they want to do, things that they could potentially have done, but they ended up not being able to, and then everybody felt like they got.
Well, that just sounds like he doesn't know how to like.
Well, yeah, he wasn't supposed to be a publicist. He was, just a.
I don't know. I think that's more on him than anything else. I don't think that. I feel like most people, even if they are programmers, know what know when they're like talking about something that they can do or something they might be able to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He got asked.
So let's quit roasting that guy.
Yeah.
They missed their goals, but it's all right. It's all right. The game is still a lot of fun, and if you buy it now, you have more to look forward to. That more things are coming down the pike. Hapu Games is made up of the 2 people that I just talked about. And they used they're all about their free software, kind of like us. We haven't really talked about it all, but like almost everything all the software that we use is free. We do a lot of recording in Audacity. I do a lot of art in paint.net. I do most of my coding in Visual Studio. It's like you get the job done, and yeah, I don't know. We played around with Photoshop for a bit, right? Was it Photoshop or Illustrator?
I used Photoshop for a while, but it was expensive.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, so I definitely recommend if you're looking to get into game design, Game Maker, which they use for Risk of Rain 1 and their other game Deadbolt, is a really good place to start. That's where I started. Although I don't know, the free version is not great anymore. You might be able to like pirate a legacy version. I'm not sure. And they also have this new one, the 3D Risk of Rain 2, is made in Unity, which is also free until you start making money, and then you have to pay for it. So it's like a pretty high threshold. I think you have to make like 6 digits before they require you to pay anything. Which is pretty insane, right? Yeah. Off of Unity stuff. You have to be making money off of Unity stuff, to be clear.
Right. Okay.
They don't just audit your income tax or whatever. But anyway, Unity and Game Maker, great places to start if you're interested in 3D or 2D games, respectively. Really intuitive, and there's plenty of good resources online. These guys got published by a company called Gearbox, which was involved in the development and publishing of a few games you might know, like Half-Life, Brothers in Arms, Borderlands series, the Duke Nukem series, the game Battleborn, and even Justin Roiland's Squanch games. So, got their thumb in every pie.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Those Duke Nukem games are notorious for being development hell material. Something would be good for
yeah.
the show.
No spoilers, Vincent.
No, I'm doing the thing like in Iron Man 2 where I'm setting up for just future events. Remember? Like you said with Iron Man 2?
I said we're on it. We haven't watched it yet.
Oh, Glenn. Oh, Glenn. Oh, Glenn. That's not a marathon. That's just watching one movie. That's just watching a movie with your family.
Yeah, we can find the Hulk one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we mixing it up. We like to keep it fresh.
Yeah, keep it a little fresh. All right, I'm there.
Yeah. One really fresh and interesting thing about Risk of Rain 2 is that, or the Risk of Rain 2 games, is that their exploitation of the mechanics is kind of the point of the game. So there's no cap on how many items you can carry, and there's no cap on how many of a certain item you can have. So if you get the soldier syringe per se, which I know that's not the right use of per se, so don't roast me.
Wasn't planning on that.
Well, I know you, Vincent, and you're liable to roast me for anything.
Yeah, but I'm not a linguist.
When you say that, all of the soldier syringe increases your attack speed. Pretty useful because that also increases your crits per second. If you're attacking more often and 10% of those attacks are crits, then more per second. And also you can get things that that happen when you get a crit, like lighting your enemies on fire or increasing your attack speed more, which is kind of an exploit. So you can have as many soldier syringes as you want. You get 12 of them, and now your attack speed's at 1,000% or whatever, maybe more, and you're just you just hold left click and bullets fly across the screen. Yeah, soldier syringe, and then you can get some other item that does something when you proc your crit, and combo those together. There's no stopping. The game does not stop you from getting just ridiculous amounts of individual items. In fact, it encourages it. That's kind of how you play the game. It's either snowball to a point where you're unstoppable, and then you get in a god run where you basically play until you end the run, or the game snowballs against you, and you can't keep up and you die. Those are basically the two outcomes of every run.
I kind of like that because in that way you're able to avoid real tedious inventory management, right?
Right. Yeah. There's no inventory. You pick up an item and it happens. You get the stat buff from it. Yeah. There's no equipment or anything. Well, or anything like that. There's active items, but you can only carry one of those at a time. So fix that problem right up.
Yeah.
I guess it limits how many active items you can carry, but that's inconsequential. One thing that's really interesting about Risk of Rain 2 as opposed to Risk of Rain 1 is how much more esoteric it is. The Risk of Rain 1 had a very clear story where you work for you're hired by this you're like a mercenary, I guess, or I don't know if that's the word, but anyway, you're hired by this transport company, like a interstellar FedEx, whose the ship was it crashed on this planet, and all the items went scattering all over the surface of the planet. And you and your team are hired to go find all of those items and recover them and bring them back. And so that's where that kind of, you travel from continent to continent, picking up items, teleporting, and, just trying to get as far as possible it kind of fit with that. Yeah.
That classic storytelling monomyth.
Right.
Hero's journey. I'm there.
Not really. There wasn't any character development, but you're close. You're close. You would In the original one, you would eventually fight a boss. Actually, on every level, you fight a boss, which like I discussed. But there was a final boss who was the guy who blew up your ship. It turns out that it wasn't an accident. He blew it up and caused it to crash. And I guess he was trying to steal the items. I don't really know. But yeah, you fight him, and then you yes, and then you return all of those items to the people who ordered them, and it's a happy day. Risk of Rain 2, however, doesn't have any of that. You drop down in a drop pod, and you fight your way through the enemies, you pick up items, and the goal of the game, you end the run when you go to the Bazaar Between Time. There's like a newt guy there that'll sell you like lunar items and stuff. It's a whole bunch of stuff, but when the game ends, the end game is when you make it to this other place, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was called, but it's A Moment Fractured. It's called A Moment Fractured, and then you like obliterate yourself at the obelisk. The end goal of the game is to obliterate yourself at the obelisk.
Yeah, that's rough, huh? That's I guess esoteric was a good word to use there.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm into it though. I think it's kind of a fitting end to like this kind of journey. But yeah, it does not have any of the story that the first one has. It's all just like a quest to obliterate yourself, I guess. Obliterate yourself from existence.
You love a roguelike like that. I've noticed that.
What do you mean?
That's the kind of game you're into, where it's like you just play through it, you get multiple times through, and it's like
I play those because they're easy to play.
Oh, okay.
I really like story-based games like Legends of Zelda, or like I really want to play Breath of the Wild, but I'm not a Nintendo boy, so it's not
Bad name, but I'll take it.
Breath of the Wild?
No, Nintendo boy.
Oh. Well, that's what you are, so got him.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm all right with it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I play roguelikes because it's easy to play, just do a run and then do something else. It's not like I have to commit to anything. And it's hard to find. It's hard to find like good story-based games. You know what I mean? It's like it seems like there's a lot fewer really good ones.
Yeah, you just can't find good help these days.
Gotta do everything yourself. Yeah, so kind of a strange concept, but I like it a lot. I think that it works. I'm definitely much more into this game than I was the first one. I never. I don't think I ever beat the first one. I don't even think I unlocked all the characters. I was just like it. The multiplayer was weird and buggy. Like people would rubber band around and stuff like that, and your friends could see enemies where you didn't, and they'd just be shooting for no reason. It was really weird. But yeah, is Risk of Rain 2. I haven't experienced any of that. Maybe a little bit of lag, but I mean only slightly. The only thing that I don't like about Risk of Rain 2, well, I mean, I won't say the only thing because that kind of puts me in a box, but I'll say the main thing that I dislike about it is that it's like it can just kill you sometimes. Like if the game so chooses, it can just roll to kill you. You know what I mean? But I mean, all roguelikes are like that. I mean, I don't know if you've ever played Rogue, but that was kind of you just play until the game chooses to kill you in the original game, Rogue. So I guess that's true roguelike spirit right there.
Like I said, you're a purist.
I'm a purist. The game Rogue sucks. I'm not. That was not an endorsement for Rogue.
We're gonna get emails.
People who play Rogue are like they treat it like chess. They're like, if I move here and the ice giant moves here, it's like I don't get it because it's random. It's like completely randomized, and most of the time it's like there's nothing you can do.
Right, but you like chess.
I like chess AI.
Okay.
I like chess because I'm into artificial intelligence, and it's just rich with artificial intelligence research. But chess itself is an all right game, hot and cold.
It's kind of poorly balanced, if you ask me.
You mean like between the pieces?
Yeah, they could just run through the whole level. It's kind of ruins the balance.
It really does. You're right. So there's a couple. One of the other changes that happened in this Risk of Rain 2 is that you can now see all of the items that you collect on your character model, whereas in the first one, because it was just a little sprite, it would have been kind of hard to show them.
Okay.
So yeah, when you pick up a soldier's syringe, you now see like a syringe stuck in your thigh, which is
Cool.
kind of epic. But the rest of them that aren't that I don't know what's the word, grisly, I guess, are just you have like you pick up a necklace and you can see it around your neck, or glasses and you can see them on your face. But there's even a mod that you can get that allows you to like it scales with the number you have. So 2 glasses, you have 2 sunglasses stacked on your face. When you pick up the third, you see a third one. You know what I mean? So when you have 12, or when you do the Shrine of Order, which converts all of your items into one item, if you have 30 items and you get 30 of one of your items, then you can then have, I guess, 30 syringes stuck in your thigh. And you know what? I'm not against it. If that's what you want to do, I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
But apparently this was inspired by a piece of Risk of Rain fan art back in the winter of 2016 when they started work on this game. They saw some. Well, they originally were going to make it like a 2.5D game.
Okay.
Yeah, so like they were going to make 3D models and stuff, but it was still going to be a platformer, like Mario. Like the new Mario games. New Mario, and they did, and that was good because it allowed them to, when they saw that fan art of somebody's or somebody had drawn the Risk of Rain character with all of the items that he was carrying on him, they said that'd be really cool if he did that in the game, and so they were like, oh, right, yeah. They said so 3D is really good for this, since we're working in 3D now. We can do this sort of thing. And so they did, and then they play tested for a little bit and realized that it very shortly after starting on the game that they should do it in 3D, like full 3D, and they were able to convert it. And honestly, I'm taken aback by how well they've been able to adapt. I mean, they were everyone that I know is in awe of how much of this is how good of a port this is from 2D to 3D. Right. Obviously, not everything's the same, huh?
Your game design friends, people in the know?
Yeah, but also just people that I play with. Because we all played the first one together, and now we play the second one. And it's like, oh, I remember that guy, but he's different now in a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. So yeah, when they transitioned to full 3D, and it's really incredible that they're able to make like 3D levels are way harder to make than 2D levels. I mean, there's just so much more to consider, and the fact that they were able to in 1 year make exceed their goal in stages, and these stages are huge. It's not like, I don't know. It's just it's pretty awesome. These guys are madmen. And speaking of level design, I mean, they really nailed the ambience. I mean, this game is like, the atmosphere is like pristine the whole time. Like with it, most of the game is like Doom, where you're just like shooting and killing things that are trying to gang up on you and stuff like that. Oh, Doom, where you just hack and slash your way through enemies. You use your abilities and wait for them to cool down. I don't know. Does Doom doesn't have like abilities, does it?
Not really,
like skills and abilities. Yeah. Okay. But it's kind of the same thing. You have like but you're shooting that a whole bunch, but on top of that you also have like character based abilities that you're also thinking about, which is part of that reward system with the core loop. Is like you get that rush of dopamine every time you complete like the habitual cycle.
Yeah, sure.
It's what making games is all about, so yeah, but on top of that core loop, there are times when you like find yourself in like the Bazaar Between Time, or the Void Fields, or the Moment Fractured, or some non-combat levels, or even parts of combat levels, where there's a secret. It's just like the game isn't super high poly or super high like really high quality shaders or anything like that, but the way they did the lighting and especially the sound design is incredible. Like when you find yourself in one of these like areas where you don't go very often, where there's a secret or something to find, it's like you can just tell that you're somewhere special because of the way the light is and the way the sound changes and everything. Oh yeah, for example, one example of the way that the sound design like is just nailed in this game is when you're charging the teleporter, there's this sort of red bubble that you have to stay inside in order to charge it. If you leave that bubble, it stops charging, which is no good because remember you're trying to get out of there as soon as possible. So and the way the game indicates this is that when you leave the bubble, the boss music the goes into like you know what I mean when I say club mix.
I do know exactly what you mean.
Oh, sorry. Club bathroom mix, where it's like it cuts out all the treble and it's just kind of like the bassy, like you hear the rhythm and everything, but it cuts out all the and so that's what it does. Whenever you leave it throws on that low pass EQ whenever you come out of that bubble. So it's like it kind of tells you you're outside right now. You're not in the fight. You're outside right now, and you need to get back into the bubble, and you don't even have to think about it because it's just a sensation that your brain has experienced before. Like when you step outside of like a house party and the music is quiet now, and you step back in and it gets and you can not necessarily quieter, but like the sonic properties change when you step out or in. And that's such a like ingenious cue in my opinion, because it took me a while to like realize that consciously, but as soon as I played the game, I could tell that was like how it worked, because that's a new mechanic. Charging the teleporter, I don't think there was an area you had to stay inside in the first one. Like it was just always charging no matter where you were in the level. Oh no! In the first one, you had to kill every enemy. It was like once you activated the teleporter, enemies stopped spawning, and you had to kill all of the enemies for it to charge.
Right, that is like Doom.
Yeah, but in the second one, it has this like this bubble that you have to stay inside to charge, and it's really well done in my opinion. So that was kind of a rant.
You like it so much, why don't you marry it?
Dude, I wish I could, but they haven't legalized marrying video games yet.
Yet.
I would have married Luigi long before now.
He's got that maternal quality about him, yeah.
Yeah. Man, get you a video game character who can make a good mommy. That's the struggle, isn't it?
Is that our call to action?
That's our call to action.
Cool.
Check out Mario 2. How do you know where people can find that? I'm sure it's like plenty of emulators, right?
Yeah, probably. I don't know if the Nintendo Online has it included in the. It probably doesn't, honestly. I don't know. If you can seek out a Mario, if you can seek out a Super Mario All-Star port on the Game Boy, go for it.
Yep. Also go check out Risk of Rain 2. Like I said, it's available on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. It's not cross-platform, unfortunately. But they're what are you gonna do? It's a free game, or it's not a free game, but it's two guys working on it. It's a cheap game, indie game. You got it. You know what I'm trying to say.
I got it.
You got it.
All right, so that all being said, we got a couple thank yous. So thank you, Glenn, for the intro music. That song is Bird. It's on SoundCloud. It's linked in the description.
Yep. Also linked is Matthew Inney and Natalie Quick. Matthew did our various logos, and Natalie helped out with some of the logos and our cover art. So thank you to them, and thank you to you for listening.
Yeah, so feel free to, tell people about us. Tell your friends. Tell your parents, whoever you think would be interested. It really helps. It does. That's how we get our point across.
That's where we're at right now. We just need your help to, get where we're going, I guess.
Yeah. So again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Glenn, if you want to leave them with our closer that we do every week.
Every week we do this where I say, see you next time. I don't know.
Nice.
Were you fishing for something in particular?
Nope, that's it.